Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. President Donald Trump and APO's remarkable visit to Saudi Arabia ended as it began, with warm applause from Saudi leaders who displayed real pride in the fact that an American president chose the religious center of the Muslim world as the first stop on his first trip abroad. Political leaders proclaimed a new era. Saudis gushed at the and quote elegantly respectful and quote look of First Lady Melania Trump. Analysts hailed the biggest arms deal in American history, while Sunday newspapers praised the renewal of and quote this natural American Muslim alliance and quote that in the 1980s had fought and quote successfully against atheism and communism. And quote there is something remarkable too about the leader of the Western world speaking in the city where Osama bin Laden was born. A New Yorker, Trump, addressing Muslims in the country where 11 of the 19 terrorists of the September 11th attacks were born. Yet here he was urging more than 40 Muslim leaders to unite to and quote drive out the terrorists and drive out the extremists, drive them out of this earth. And quote this, he said, is a battle between good and evil, and urged Muslim countries had to and quote fulfill their part of the BURDN and quote not just wait for American intervention. But there was none of the inflammatory language typical of domestic Trump. He did not use the phrase and quote radical Islamic terrorism and quote which he has specifically used several times before and which is considered offensive by many. In fact, he said he was and quote not here to electure and quote the Muslim leaders or to impose an American way of life. At the final major event of his visit, a conference on social media and countering terrorism, the President and APO's schedule got squeezed and he had to leave the speaking to his daughter Ivanka. And quote this young generation is a generation that can build a future of tolerance, of hope and of peace and quote she said. And quote and THAT and APO's what this last day has been around. Tolerance and hope and peace. And quote still, there is a definite security threat here, and IT and APO's clear IT and APO's being taken seriously. Every major road in Riyadh is lined with troops and police, but surrounded by huge photographs of himself in a city dripping in gold while making deals worth hundreds of billions of dollars. Trump may have felt he was in a special but familiar place. Everywhere you look in central Riyadh there are giant images of Trump and the Saudi king side by side. And quote together and quote they proclaim and quote we will prevail and quote a slogan that boasts of a renewed military and economic bond between the US and Saudi Arabia, an alliance against rivals in Iran and threats from ISIS. Here, all is apparently forgiven. They have forgotten candidate Trump, who railed against Muslims on the campaign trail, and even early President Trump, who tried to push through a ban on Muslims entering America. Now they have best friend Trump, who sees in the Saudis an opportunity to make money and buy peace in the region. There are similarities between the leaders of Saudi Arabia and the United States. The rulers of the Desert Kingdom are a family, the Al Saud's King Salman and his many princes. They do business in the billions of dollars, but often in a personal, traditionally Arab way. THAT and APO's been TRUMP and APO's way too, and HE and APO's done business here in the desert through his family. The arms deal the two countries have signed, worth at least $100 billion, was done with the help of TRUMP and APO's son-in-law Jared Kushner. He amazed a visiting Saudi delegation at the White House earlier this year by picking up the phone to the boss of Lockheed Martin and haggling over the price of weapons the Saudis found too expensive. THERE and APO's even quiet talk here of his next stop, Israel, as well as the common enemy shared by Saudis, Gulf Arabs and Israelis. Iran.